The Nevada desert stretched out like an endless sea of sand and rock under the burning afternoon sun. Heat waves rose from the ground and made the distant mountains look like they were dancing. Nothing lived out here except for a few snakes and lizards that hid under rocks. During the hottest hours of the day, Captain Nathan Cole wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked through his binoculars at the empty landscape ahead. His patrol team had been driving through this wasteland for 3 hours now, checking for any signs of illegal border crossings or drug smuggling routes. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. "Captain, I'm getting something strange on the sensors," said Sergeant Lisa Monroe from the back of the military jeep. She was staring at a small screen with a confused look on her face. Nathan turned around. "What kind of strange?" "There is a heat signature about 2 miles northeast of here, but it does not match anything in our database. It is not a vehicle. It is not an animal. I have never seen readings like this before." Private Ryan Hart, who was driving the jeep, slowed down. "Could be someone lost out here. Hikers get into trouble in this desert all the time." Nathan thought about it for a moment. They were supposed to follow their patrol route and not go off track. But if someone was in trouble out here, they would die without help. The desert did not forgive mistakes. "Change course," Nathan said. "Let us check it out." Ryan turned the jeep and drove toward the strange signal. The ground became rougher as they moved away from the main trail. Rocks scraped against the bottom of the vehicle. Sand flew up behind them in a thick cloud. After 20 minutes of difficult driving, they reached a small canyon with high red walls on both sides. Lisa pointed at her screen. "The signal is coming from just around that corner." Nathan grabbed his rifle and stepped out of the jeep. "Stay alert. We do not know what we are walking into." The 3 soldiers moved forward slowly with their weapons ready. Nathan went first, followed by Lisa, then Ryan at the back. Their boots crunched on the dry ground. The only other sound was the wind blowing through the canyon. Nathan turned the corner and stopped so suddenly that Lisa almost walked into him. "What the hell?" he whispered. There, lying on the sand in the middle of the canyon, was a woman. But she was not like any woman Nathan had ever seen. Her skin was a soft purple color, like lavender flowers. Her hair was silver white and spread out around her head like a fan. Strange markings on her arms glowed faintly with a pale blue light, and she was completely naked. "Oh my God," Lisa said behind him. Is she real?" Nathan moved forward carefully. The woman was not moving. Her eyes were closed. For a terrible moment, he thought she was dead. But then he saw her chest rise and fall slightly. She was breathing, but just barely. "Ryan, get a blanket from the jeep." "Now," Nathan ordered. Ryan ran back without asking questions. Nathan knelt down beside the strange woman and checked her pulse. It was weak and fast. Her skin felt cool to the touch, which was wrong. In this heat, she should have been burning up. "She is alive, but something is very wrong with her," Nathan said. "Lisa, call for medical evacuation. Tell them we have a situation that is unusual." Lisa pulled out her radio but hesitated. "What do I tell them, Captain? That we found a purple alien woman lying naked in the desert? Tell them we found an unknown female in critical condition and we need immediate evacuation. We will explain the rest when they get here." Ryan came running back with a green military blanket. Nathan took it and carefully covered the woman's body. Even unconscious and helpless, there was something noble about her face. Her features were similar to a human's, but more delicate somehow. Her ears were slightly longer and pointed at the tips. "What is she?" Ryan asked in a quiet voice. "She is not human. That is obvious. So what is she?" Nathan shook his head. "I do not know. But right now, it does not matter. She needs help, and we are going to give it to her." He looked around the canyon, searching for any clues about how she got here. There were no footprints except their own. No vehicle tracks. No parachute or any sign that she had fallen from the sky. It was like she had just appeared out of thin air. "Captain, look at this," Lisa said. She was pointing at the ground a few feet away from the woman. Nathan walked over and saw what Lisa had found. There was a circle burned into the sand, about 10 feet across. The edges were perfectly smooth, as if someone had drawn it with a giant compass. Inside the circle, the sand had turned to glass. "Some kind of energy discharge," Lisa said. "Maybe a transportation beam? Like in those old science fiction movies?" Ryan asked. "This is not a movie," Nathan said grimly. "This is real. Someone or something brought her here and left her to die." The sound of helicopter blades cut through the air. Nathan looked up and saw a black military helicopter approaching from the south. That was fast. Too fast. Someone important must have been listening to their radio call. The helicopter landed at the mouth of the canyon, blowing sand everywhere. Nathan shielded his eyes and saw several figures jumping out. One of them was wearing a colonel's uniform. Colonel Daniel West walked toward them with a serious expression on his face. He was a tall man with gray hair and cold blue eyes. Nathan had met him a few times before and knew that he was not someone who showed up for ordinary situations. "Captain Cole," the colonel said, "what have you found?" Nathan stepped aside so the colonel could see the unconscious woman on the ground. The colonel's eyes went wide for just a moment before his face became hard again. "Clear the area," the colonel ordered. "No one speaks about this to anyone. Is that understood?" "Yes, sir," Nathan said. "But, sir, she needs medical attention. She is dying." The colonel looked at the strange woman for a long moment. Then he nodded. "We will take care of her. But this situation is now classified at the highest level. You and your team will come with us for debriefing." As medical officers loaded the unconscious woman onto a stretcher, Nathan watched with a heavy feeling in his chest. He did not know who she was or where she came from. But he knew one thing for certain: the world had just changed forever, and he was standing right at the center of it. 3 days passed inside the secure medical facility at Edwards Air Force Base. The alien woman lay on a hospital bed, surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed. Doctors and scientists worked around the clock, trying to understand her body and keep her alive. Dr. Amanda Pierce had not slept more than a few hours since the patient arrived. She was the lead xenobiologist on the project, which was a fancy title for someone who studied life from other worlds. Before this week, her job had been mostly theoretical. Now she was standing in front of a real alien being. "Our body is similar to ours in many ways," Amanda told the group of military officers gathered in the observation room. "2 lungs, 1 heart, similar bone structure. But her blood is different. It carries more oxygen than human blood. And those markings on her skin, they are not tattoos. They are part of her biology. We think they might be connected to some kind of energy system we do not understand yet." Colonel West stood at the front of the group with his arms crossed. "Will she survive?" "We think so. Her vital signs have been getting stronger every day. She should wake up soon." Nathan was standing at the back of the room. He had been assigned as the military liaison for the project, which meant he had to be present for all briefings and meetings. He was glad for the assignment. He had not been able to stop thinking about the strange woman since they found her in the desert. "When she wakes up," the colonel said, "we need answers. Where did she come from? Why is she here? Is she a threat?" "With respect, sir," Nathan said, "she was left naked and dying in the middle of nowhere. That does not sound like an invasion to me." The colonel turned to look at him with cold eyes. "We cannot assume anything, Captain. For all we know, this could be a trick. A way to get inside our defenses." Before Nathan could respond, an alarm started beeping from the medical equipment in the other room. Everyone turned to look through the glass window. The alien woman's eyes were open. They were violet, deep and bright like amethyst stones. She looked around the room with fear and confusion on her face. When she tried to sit up, the wires connected to her body pulled tight and she let out a small cry. "Everyone stay here," Amanda said. "I will go in alone. We do not want to scare her." Amanda walked into the medical room slowly with her hands raised to show she meant no harm. The alien woman watched her every move. Her body was tense, ready to run or fight. "It is okay," Amanda said in a gentle voice. "You are safe. We are not going to hurt you." The woman said something in a language that sounded like music. The words rose and fell in strange patterns that no human throat could copy. Amanda shook her head to show she did not understand. "We cannot understand you," Amanda said, "but we are working on it. My name is Amanda. Can you tell me your name?" The woman stared at her for a long moment. Then she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them again, she spoke in English. The words were slow and awkward, like she was learning how to use her mouth in a new way. "I am Velara." Amanda smiled. "Hello, Velara. Welcome to Earth." Over the next several hours, Velara learned to speak English with surprising speed. Amanda realized that the alien woman was not actually learning the language. She was using some kind of technology implanted in her brain that could analyze and translate languages in real time. It just needed time to adjust to human speech patterns. By evening, Velara was able to have a full conversation. Nathan was allowed into the room to speak with her directly. He sat in a chair beside her bed, while Amanda stood nearby taking notes. "Why were you in the desert?" Nathan asked. "Who left you there?" Velara's eyes filled with pain. She looked down at her hands and was quiet for a moment before answering. "I am the third daughter of Emperor Torvex, ruler of the Kelvari Dominion. Our empire spans 47 star systems. We have been watching your planet for many years." Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. "Watching us? Why?" "Your oceans contain a mineral called varium. It is rare in the galaxy, but essential for our technology. My father planned to harvest your oceans without your knowledge or permission. He considered humans to be primitive, not worth talking to. Just another resource to be taken. And what happened to you?" Velara's jaw tightened. "I disagreed with my father's plan. I argued that humans deserve to be treated with respect. I said that taking your resources without asking was wrong." She paused, and her voice became quieter. "My brother Draven did not like my words. He said I was a traitor to our people. He convinced my father to punish me." "What kind of punishment?" Amanda asked. "By our laws, I am now considered dead. My name has been erased from all records. My royal status is gone. I have no rights, no property, no existence." Velara looked up at them with tears in her violet eyes. "Draven took my clothes, my shield generator, my communication devices. Then he transported me to the most remote place he could find on your planet and left me there to die." Nathan felt anger rising in his chest. "Your own brother did this to you? Because you stood up for us? He enjoys cruelty. He always has. And my father did not stop him." The room was silent for a long moment. Nathan could not believe what he was hearing. This woman had lost everything, her family, her home, her very identity, all because she tried to protect a species she had never met. "Why?" Nathan asked. "Why did you do it? You did not know us. You had never met a human before. Why risk everything for strangers?" Velara looked at him with those strange violet eyes. "Because it was the right thing to do. Your people have done nothing wrong. You did not ask for our attention. You did not threaten us. You were just living your lives. Taking from you without asking, treating you like animals. It was wrong. I could not stay silent. Nathan felt something shift inside him. He had spent his whole career following orders and doing his duty. But sitting here with this alien woman who had sacrificed everything for a principle, he understood something important. Some things were worth more than safety. Some things were worth more than survival. "We are going to help you," Nathan said. "I promise." Valara shook her head. "You do not understand. The Dominion will come eventually. They will take what they want. There is nothing you can do to stop them." Nathan leaned forward and looked her straight in the eyes. "Maybe, but we are going to try anyway. That is what humans do." For the first time since she woke up, Valara smiled. It was a small smile, tired and sad, but real. "Then perhaps," she said softly, "I chose the right species to believe in." The news leaked 2 weeks after Valara arrived on Earth. Someone inside the facility talked to a journalist, and within hours, the story was everywhere. Television screens across the world showed blurry photographs of the alien woman. Social media exploded with arguments and theories. Governments demanded answers. Nathan stood in a crowded conference room, watching the chaos unfold on multiple screens. The President of the United States was giving a speech confirming that an extraterrestrial being was in American custody. The leaders of China, Russia, and the European Union were demanding access. Religious groups were calling Valara everything from an angel to a demon. Protesters gathered outside military bases with signs saying, "Free the alien and send her back." Colonel West slammed his hand on the table. "This is a disaster. We were supposed to keep this contained. It was never going to stay secret forever," Nathan said. "Something this big cannot be hidden." "That is not your concern, Captain. Your job is to manage the asset." Nathan felt his jaw tighten. "She is not an asset. She is a person. She is a strategic resource. The information in her head could save humanity or destroy it. We need to know everything she knows about Kelvari technology, their military strength, their weaknesses. She has been cooperating fully. She answers every question we ask. Cooperation is not enough anymore." The colonel pulled out a folder and dropped it on the table. "Orders came down from Washington this morning. The asset is being transferred to a secure facility for advanced interrogation." Nathan felt his blood go cold. "Advanced interrogation? You mean torture?" "I mean whatever it takes to extract useful intelligence. We are facing a potential invasion, Captain. Nice conversations over tea are not going to cut it." Nathan thought about Valara sitting in her room, reading books about human history and asking questions about Earth's cultures. She had become fascinated by human art and music. Yesterday, she had cried while listening to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. She said she had never heard anything so beautiful. And now they wanted to strap her to a table and break her mind for information she was already giving freely. "I will not be part of this," Nathan said. "You do not have a choice. You have your orders." Nathan stood up and walked out of the room without another word. His heart was pounding in his chest. He knew what he had to do, but the cost would be enormous. His career, his freedom, maybe even his life. He found Lisa and Ryan waiting outside. They had been listening through the door. "What are you going to do?" Lisa asked quietly. Nathan looked at his 2 most trusted soldiers. They had served together for years. He knew he could count on them. "I am going to do something stupid," he said, "and I need your help." That night, Nathan went to Valara's room. She was sitting by the window, looking up at the stars. She turned when he entered and smiled. "Nathan, I was hoping you would visit." He sat down across from her. "How are you feeling?" "Strange. I keep thinking about my home, my family. I know they consider me dead, but I still miss them." She paused. "Well, most of them. Not Draven." "Valara, I need to tell you something. And you need to listen carefully." Her smile faded when she saw the serious expression on his face. "What is wrong?" Nathan told her about the orders, the transfer, the interrogation. He watched her face go pale as she understood what was coming. "I see," she said quietly. "I suppose I should not be surprised. Fear makes people do terrible things. I have seen it in my own empire. I am not going to let it happen." Valara looked at him with confusion. "What do you mean?" "I am going to get you out of here. Tonight." "Nathan, that is insane. You will be caught. They will punish you. Probably. But I did not become a soldier to torture innocent people. I joined to protect them." He leaned forward. "You gave up everything to stand up for us. The least I can do is stand up for you." Valara stared at him for a long moment. Her violet eyes were bright with emotion. "Why are you doing this? We barely know each other." Nathan thought about the question. He thought about duty and honor and all the things he had been taught to value. Then he thought about Valara crying over a piece of music, asking questions about human children, wondering if Earth had flowers like the ones on her home world. "Because it is the right thing to do," he said. "Is that not what you told me?" Valara laughed softly. "I did say that, did I not?" "You did. So stop arguing and get ready to move." 3 hours later, Nathan, Lisa, Ryan, and Valara were speeding down a dark highway in a stolen military vehicle. Dr. Amanda Pierce was with them too. She had refused to stay behind when she learned what was happening. "This is crazy," Amanda said from the back seat. "We are all going to prison. Only if we get caught," Lisa said. "Where are we even going?" Ryan asked. Nathan kept his eyes on the road. "New York, the United Nations. Valara is going to address the world directly." "The United Nations?" Valara asked. "What is that?" "A place where all the countries of Earth come together to talk instead of fight. If we can get you in front of them, if you can tell your story to everyone at once, they will not be able to hide you away anymore. You think your leaders will listen? I think the people will listen. And in the end, that is what matters." Valara was quiet for a moment. Then she reached out and touched Nathan's arm gently. "You are a good man, Nathan Cole. Whatever happens, I want you to know that." Nathan felt warmth spread through his chest. "Just hold that thought until we actually survive this." Behind them, the first lights of pursuing vehicles appeared on the horizon. The chase had begun, but Nathan did not slow down. He pressed the accelerator harder and drove toward the rising sun. For the first time in his life, he was not following orders. He was following his heart. And somehow, that felt more like duty than anything he had ever done before. The chase lasted through the night. Military helicopters flew overhead. Police cars blocked highways. News reporters broadcast the pursuit live to billions of viewers around the world. Nathan drove like a man possessed. He took back roads and side streets. He cut through small towns and crossed state lines. Lisa navigated from the passenger seat, finding routes that avoided the main roadblocks. Ryan kept watch behind them, counting the vehicles in pursuit. "They are getting closer," Ryan said. "We have maybe 30 minutes before they catch up." "We just need to reach the city," Nathan replied. "Once we are in New York, we have allies waiting." Valara sat quietly in the back seat with Amanda beside her. She watched the human landscape passing by outside the window. Small houses with neat lawns, gas stations, and fast food restaurants. Children playing in their yards, unaware that their world was about to change forever. "Your planet is beautiful," Valara said softly. "So much green. So much water. On my world, we have to build machines to make rain." Amanda smiled at her. "Maybe one day you can show us your world." "Perhaps." If we survive the next few hours. They reached the outskirts of New York City just as the sun was climbing high in the sky. The streets were packed with traffic. News vans were parked on every corner. Crowds of people lined the sidewalks, holding signs and shouting. Nathan's contact was a woman named Grace Wu, a diplomat who worked at the United Nations. She had arranged everything in secret after Nathan sent her an encrypted message the night before. Grace believed that Valara deserved a chance to speak, and she was willing to risk her career to make it happen. They met at a parking garage 3 blocks from the UN building. Grace was waiting with 2 security guards who were loyal to her. "You actually made it," Grace said with surprise in her voice. "I did not think it was possible." "Neither did I," Nathan admitted. "Is everything ready?" "The General Assembly is in emergency session right now. Every country is represented. When you walk through those doors, the whole world will be watching." Grace looked at Valara. "Are you ready for this?" Valara stood tall and straight despite the fear in her eyes. "I have faced my father's anger and my brother's cruelty. I can face a room full of politicians." They moved quickly through the streets, surrounded by Grace's security team. People recognized Valara immediately. Some screamed her name. Others tried to reach out and touch her. Cameras flashed from every direction. Nathan stayed close to Valara, shielding her with his body when the crowds pressed too close. "Almost there. Just keep moving." The entrance to the UN building was guarded by soldiers from a dozen different countries. They looked confused when they saw Valara approaching. Some raised their weapons. Others just stared with open mouths. Grace stepped forward with her diplomatic credentials. "This woman has requested asylum on Earth and wishes to address the General Assembly. Under international law, she has the right to be heard." The guards looked at each other uncertainly. Then the doors opened from inside, and an older man in an expensive suit walked out. It was the Secretary General of the United Nations himself. "I have been expecting you," he said calmly. "Please, come inside. The world is waiting." They walked through the famous halls of the United Nations building, past flags from every nation on Earth. Valara looked at them with wonder in her eyes. So many countries, so many cultures, all gathered under one roof to talk and negotiate instead of making war. "This is remarkable," she whispered to Nathan. "On my world, different nations only meet on battlefields." "We are not perfect," Nathan said. "But we try." The doors to the General Assembly Hall opened, and Valara stepped into the light. The room was enormous. Thousands of seats rose in curved rows around a central platform. Every seat was filled with representatives from nations around the globe. Cameras broadcast the scene to billions of screens in every corner of the planet. Valara walked to the podium alone. She looked small standing there, a single alien woman facing the judgment of an entire world. But when she began to speak, her voice was clear and strong. "My name is Valara. I was once a princess of the Calvary Dominion. I come before you today as a refugee, a traitor to my own people, and hopefully, a friend to yours." She told them everything. She described the Dominion's plan to harvest Earth's oceans. She explained the technology they would use and the timeline they had planned. She spoke about her own fall from grace, her punishment, her abandonment in the desert. "I do not come to you with weapons or armies," Valara said. "I come with knowledge and a choice. You can use what I know to prepare yourselves. You can stand together as one species and show the Dominion that Earth is not weak or divided. Or you can fight among yourselves over who controls me and let your planet be taken piece by piece." She paused and looked around the silent room. "When I first saw your world from space, I thought you were just another primitive species waiting to be conquered. But I was wrong. I have seen humans show kindness to a stranger they had every reason to fear. I have seen soldiers risk everything to do what is right instead of what is easy. I have learned that your greatest strength is not in your weapons or your technology. It is in your hearts." Valara's voice trembled with emotion, but she kept speaking. "The Dominion does not understand this. They see only numbers and resources. They cannot imagine a species that would fight for principles instead of profit. That is why they will underestimate you. And that is why you might just win." She stepped back from the podium. The room was completely silent. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a single person began to clap. Then another. Then more. Within seconds, the entire General Assembly was on its feet, applauding and cheering. Nathan watched from the side of the room with tears in his eyes. He had never felt so proud to be human. The world had heard Valara's message. Now it was time to see what humanity would do with it. The months that followed Valara's speech were unlike anything in human history. Old enemies became allies. Countries that had fought for centuries now worked side by side. The United Nations created a new organization called the Global Defense Initiative. And every nation on Earth joined without argument. Valara was granted asylum and citizenship on Earth. She was no longer a princess without a home. She was something new, something that had never existed before. She was humanity's first alien friend. She worked day and night with scientists and engineers from around the world. She shared everything she knew about Calvari technology, their ships, their weapons, their communication systems. Human inventors studied her knowledge and began building defenses that combined alien science with human creativity. Nathan was promoted to general and put in charge of military operations for the initiative. Lisa and Ryan served as his top officers. Dr. Amanda Pierce led the scientific research division. They had all been pardoned for their actions, recognized as heroes instead of criminals. But everyone knew that the real test was still coming. The Dominion would not ignore Earth forever. 1 year after Valara's arrival, the sensors detected them. A fleet of 12 Calvari warships entered the solar system, moving toward Earth at incredible speed. Their energy signatures lit up every warning system on the planet. Nathan stood in the command center of the initiative's headquarters, watching the enemy ships on a giant screen. Valara stood beside him, her face pale but determined. "That is a scout fleet," she said. "My father sent them to assess the situation and remind you of your place." "Will they attack?" Nathan asked. "They will test you first. Show weakness, and they will destroy you. Show strength, and they might report back to my father that Earth is not worth the trouble." Nathan nodded and turned to his communications officer. "Activate the orbital defense grid. Launch all fighter squadrons. And open a channel to the Calvari fleet." "Yes, sir." Around the world, the defenses that humanity had built came to life. Satellites armed with energy weapons powered up in orbit. Fighter jets rose from bases on every continent. Naval ships positioned themselves across the oceans, ready to support the aerial forces. The main screen flickered and a face appeared. It was a Calvari man with sharp features and cruel eyes. Valara made a small sound in her throat when she saw him. "Draven," she whispered. Prince Draven smiled when he saw his sister standing in the human command center. "Valara, you're alive. I must admit, I am surprised. I thought the desert would have killed you within hours. It almost did. But these people saved me." "These people," Draven said with contempt in his voice. "These primitive apes who still fight each other over patches of dirt. You betrayed your family for them?" "I stood up for what was right. Something you could never understand." Draven laughed. "Enough of this. I am here to deliver a message from our father. Earth has been claimed by the Dominion. You will surrender your planetary resources immediately, or we will take them by force. You have 1 hour to decide." Nathan stepped forward so that Draven could see him clearly. "My name is General Nathan Cole of Earth's Global Defense Initiative. I have a message for your Emperor." Draven looked amused. "Speak, little creature. Earth is not yours to claim. We are not a resource to be harvested. We are a people, and we will defend ourselves. If you want our planet, you will have to fight for it. And I promise you, we will make you pay for every inch." Draven's smile faded. "You dare threaten the Dominion? We have conquered 100 worlds. What makes you think you can stop us?" Nathan pointed at the screen showing the Calvary fleet. "Look at your sensors. Tell me what you see." There was a pause. Draven's expression changed from arrogance to confusion, then to shock. "That is impossible," he said. "You were a primitive species. You had no space weapons, no orbital capabilities. How did you build all of this in 1 year?" "We had help," Nathan said. "And we had motivation. Your people taught us what happens when we fight among ourselves. So we stopped. For the first time in our history, every human on this planet is united against you." Valara stepped forward to stand beside Nathan. "Go home, Draven. Tell our father that Earth is not easy prey. Tell him that humans are not what he thought they were. And tell him that his daughter sends her regards." Draven stared at them with fury in his eyes. For a long moment, no one spoke. The tension was so thick it felt hard to breathe. Then, slowly, the Calvary fleet began to turn. One by one, the warships changed course and headed back toward the edge of the solar system. Within minutes, they were gone. The command center erupted in cheers. Officers hugged each other and shouted with joy. Around the world, people poured into the streets to celebrate. Nathan felt a hand on his arm. He turned to see Valara looking at him with tears streaming down her face. "You did it," she said. "You actually did it." "We did it," Nathan corrected her. "Together." Later that night, Nathan and Valara stood on a balcony overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The stars shone bright overhead, the same stars that contained an empire that wanted to destroy them. But for now, at this moment, there was peace. "They will come back," Valara said quietly. "My father does not accept defeat easily. I know. But we will be ready. You really believe that?" Nathan looked at her and smiled. "I believe in humanity. We are stubborn and messy and we make mistakes. But when we come together, when we fight for something bigger than ourselves, there is nothing we cannot do." Valara leaned her head against his shoulder. "You know, when I was thrown into that desert, I thought my life was over. I thought I had lost everything. But I was wrong." "What do you mean?" "I lost my old life, but I gained something better. I gained a purpose. I gained friends. I gained—" She paused and looked up at him. "I gained you." Nathan felt his heart swell with emotion. He put his arm around her and held her close. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." And somewhere out in the stars, other species watched what had happened on Earth. They saw a small, primitive world stand up to the mighty Dominion and make them turn away. They saw humans choose courage over fear, unity over division, compassion over cruelty. They watched and they wondered. And they began to hope that maybe, just maybe, the universe was about to change, and humanity would be the ones to change it.